Thanks for staying with us. Recently, the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced the E-Naira, which will be launched on October 1st officially. However, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has told financial institutions in the country that the E-Naira is not a subtle scheme to take away bank customers. It is said the plan is to grant access to more financially excluded people. Joining us on the show is the Director, Payment Systems Management Department at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Musa Jimo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing today, sir?
Well, fine. Very fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I would like you to give us a breakdown of what the E-Naira is for a better understanding.
Okay, thank you very much. E-Naira is the electronic representation of our physical Naira. We all have the paper Naira, the cash that we all, hold the coins and all that.
Okay.
The electronic representation of that Naira is called the E-Naira.
Okay.
And it's issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and it's our legal tender. In a very simple term, that's the definition.
Okay, so how are we expected to use the E-Naira? So are we supposed to, for instance, now we have the physical Naira and then we do transactions online. So with this E-Naira, do we just go ahead and keep it in which bank? How do we do the transactions? How does it work exactly, sir? Okay,
thank you very much. It's very simple, especially for those who are already using banking services. The electronic services, those that are already doing, electronic transfer, doing online banking, it's going to be very, very simple. And basically, it's a simple process. The central bank is the central issuing authority of the E-Naira. In other words, the central bank will mint the E-Naira electronically. No physical paper or coins is involved. Then the banks will distribute to its existing customers. For those that are not already banked, they will walk into any bank branch or any authorized agent, for guidance on how to acquire the E-Naira and get, subscribed onto the platform. So basically, for you and I, who are customers of the bank, what we'll do come October 1st is to download the wallet. The wallet, is to download the app. The app basically is a software that you find in the stores, online stores, either a Google Play for Android user or Apple iOS, the app world. So once you download it onto your phone, it's very simple to go through the registration and activation process where you select your existing bank. Like I said, we are starting with customers who are already banked. So you select your existing bank from the app and provide certain information, your name, your BVN, your email, your telephone number, all of that. You provide it and then you start and by sending it to your bank. And then your bank will do a background check, a KYC, your customer kind of verification, and then a wallet is created for you, similar to the bank account that you have. But the difference now is that this wallet is sitting outside of the bank. It's actually sitting on the system that is being operated by the central bank, called the eNaira platform. And so the next thing is for you to fund it, to put money into that wallet that has been created for you. You also do the same by going through the same app, and requesting for your account to be funded. It's a very simple instruction for anybody who have used application, anybody who, for example, knows how to do WhatsApp, all these applications and all that, you will be able to follow all the instructions. So you go into the app and select your bank again and ask your bank to debit your account of certain amount and credit your eNaira wallet. And so a funds transfer happens where the bank will debit your account and then eNaira is transferred to your wallet. So in this case, the role of the commercial bank is basically to help distribute the eNaira. And I'm saying this because I want us to know the difference that central bank is not competing with the commercial banks. We will be responsible for the central minting and the issuance of the eNaira to the banks, and the banks will distribute to the customer. So it's an ecosystem where
Thank you, sir.
all the major actors participate.
Right, hold on, sir. My only concern is how does this affect the present volatility of the Naira? Nigerians need some measures that would at least stabilize or even better raise the value of the Naira as it is now. What advantage is the eNaira bringing? Is it going to make Naira more available so that, eventually we'll get to that point where we don't have to dollarize economy anymore and things will become better for the poor man?
Okay, eNaira and the physical Naira is 1-to-1. The parity of value is same, is 1-to-1. If you hold one eNaira, it's the same as your physical 1 Naira. There is no exchange, there is no arbitrage, for acquiring eNaira. It's basically providing an alternative means by which you can pay in a more secured manner and increasing the velocity of money, basically making electronic transaction more pervasive, activating commercial activities, and stimulating growth. But the overarching objective basically is to also bring the underserved, those that are not within the financial sector now, providing them the means by which they can also join the financial system and become banked and, making them much, much better in terms of the quality of life that they live. So it's a whole, gamut of different actors, different players, different beneficiaries. But eventually, all Nigerians are welcome to the platform. I mean, everyone would benefit once you hold an eNaira. It has the same value as your Naira, but in this time, it is an electronic form, and you can use it to buy, you can use it to pay for goods and services. There is no exchange rate. It's 1-to-1.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Jimoh, I'm a layman. Please, on behalf of all lay people, help explain this. If e-money is just an electronic representation of paper money, the money I have in my bank, in the bank app, is already that. Why then do I need this e-money? And then the acceptance level, this is Nigeria we're talking about. Just changing one note to another and asking Nigeria to use it, it took a long time. The Nigerians we're talking about, the majority of Nigerians, is this not a little too complex, too techy, too scientific for a layperson like me? Sir, please explain to us.
Okay. For me, the mere fact that you already have a bank account, I won't regard you as a layman because it means you know how to hold device, you know how to do transfer. At the very least, you know how to use USSD instruction or system to make transfer. So you are using your phone to activate electronic transaction. I won't regard you as a layman. We're just providing an alternative channel, alternative means of payment. But beyond that, it's going to offer a lot of advantage to the Nigerians. One of the major challenges that we face in financial inclusion is the fact that people complain that the cost of financial services is too high. That cost of banking, cost of doing electronic transaction is too high, which is why a lot of people may even decide to keep their money in their home or keep it as cash and do, the transactions.
Okay.
And so one of the objectives of this is to see how we can bring down the cost of financial services.
Okay.
To mint money, the physical cash that we have, to mint it today, it costs us money. It costs a lot of money to mint money. So every time you mint money, you are spending. Okay. And all of this, when you mint that money, the money is distributed to the commercial banks. There is a cost for conveying the cash to the banks. And then the money is being dispensed and given to people, and we use it, and eventually it gets dirty, and we return it again to the central bank for destruction. It also costs money. So if you look at the entire cash management value chain, it costs so much. And that cost is what translates to the high cost of financial services. Now, with digitalization and the issuance of the electronic money, all these costs will be completely eliminated. The minting of eNaira is electronic. The distribution of eNaira is electronic. The spending is electronic. It never gets dirty. And if at all we want to destroy, it is destroyed electronically. So the overall cost of industry to serve will actually come down. And this is what is going to translate into the benefit that the consumers will get by low cost of financial services. So ultimately, you are going to see that the cost of using eNaira to do P2P, P2G, government to person, person to government, business, and all that will come down drastically. And because it's a legal tender, It's accessible everywhere.
Director Jimo, we know that the banking system in Nigeria is notorious for indiscriminate charges. What are the charges one can accrue from using the platform? Or does it come at no charge?
Okay, once you have your eNaira, if we do funds-to-funds transfer, it doesn't cost you anything. It's zero. So if you have eNaira wallet and I have eNaira wallet, you do your transfer, it's zero. It's completely zero. It doesn't attract any charge. Yes.
What about networks? So we have a problem with our network system. We have a problem with our network system.
Well,
yes. Did you people put that into consideration?
Yes, we put that, and that's why, one of the major considerations in the design is to cater for the unbanked, the people in rural communities where you don't have constant power supply, where you don't have high network availability and all that. So offline option is going to be provided, where you can actually make your payment when there is no network. But beyond that, the resilience of the system upon which this system will run is very, very high. It's actually running on a technology that they call blockchain, which makes it very secured and quite distributed. In other words, you don't have one point of failure. It will take a lot. In fact, availability can actually be, regarded as 99.999%, almost 100%. I mean, we are leaving the remaining one just because, of course, if it's electronic, anything can fail. But it's going to be highly available because of the technology upon which this system is going to run. So there are a lot of advantages that we may not see now. I recall that when we started electronic payment in this country, it was this, fear of how will adoption take place and all that. For example, at a point in this country, merchants were skeptical about using POS to accept payment. But today, you hardly go to any shop that you don't see POS terminal. Everybody has POS terminal to accept payment. Everybody is using cards. We're all using USSD and using our phones to make payment. That is how the adoption will also come. At the initial stage, we don't expect all Nigerians to key in and all that. It's going to be gradual, which is why we're also using a phased approach. We're not asking everybody to join at the same time. We're bringing people on board gradually so that when it becomes more pervasive, users themselves will opt for eNaira. We don't have to force anybody for eNaira. You see the benefit and you take it.
Thank you, Director Jimo. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So joining us in the studio is Victor Ani-Laju, who is the founder and CEO of ePay, an electronic payment solutions provider, the brain behind the welfare card, a payment card for the less privileged. Welcome, Mr. Victor.
Thank you. Thank you for
I'm sure
having
you
me.
heard the conversation earlier on.
Yeah, I
joined
did.
us.
I did.
What do you think about the eNaira?
Okay. So, thank you for having me. Nice being here today, seated among beautiful ladies. Right. What I want to say is this is not what we expected from CBN.
Oh.
This is not what, in fact, CBN want to take over our business. What they are offering us now is what we are already doing. We thought we were going to see something different from what is already in place. So that's just my own personal thought, because I already know what is going on. And I know that as of today, what they are offering, all banks, majority of the payment solution offer same. Our own ePay platform offer same. All banks, just like you were asking, your bank already gives you that app that you can use, do your electronic transactions, pay your bill, transfer money, and so on and so forth.
What you offer is not different from what they're asking, because what they're saying is they want to give us an equivalent of Naira on internet, eNaira. But what you're giving us is app payment solution. So I can choose to want to pay $1 and you can provide that.
Yep.
But what CBN is dealing with is exclusive eNaira. Is that not what they're saying?
So which even makes it more even looking like they are going backward.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like they're going backward, because how do I get to load my eNaira? It's still from my bank account.
Okay.
I heard him say it's for them to reach the unbanked. That's not true. The eNaira requires you to have a BVN. And if you don't have a bank account, you can't have a BVN. Do you understand what I'm saying? To me, let me just say it the way it is. I just feel some people needed to make money from this country and set up another existing platform. Just let them tell us how much they used to set it up.
Mr. Jimo, can you hear that, sir?
So we will now know, or tell us something.
Very well.
Let them tell us something different. And before I leave here, I want to say what I thought as an expert in the electronic payment, what I've been there for the past 15 years. Right? What I was expecting to see from CBN was something equivalent to the Bitcoin.
Is this not what it is?
It's not what it is.
Can you respond to this, sir, Mr. Jimo?
Well, I heard Victor, and basically what I see is that he hasn't got a full gist of what a central bank digital currency is. We call it eNaira, but the concept basically is a central bank digital currency. And the objective is, basically to digitize your currency. Yes, what you have in banking, in your banking system today, you can pay, you already have your money there. The liability of the money you have is with the commercial banks. The Naira you have in your pocket today, the physical Naira you have in your pocket today, the liability is actually on the central bank. And it is the electronic form of it that we're bringing out. Central bank is still charged with the responsibility of minting and issuing Naira. We are doing the electronic copy. And that's why I said the banks will still distribute it. You have a ledger, you have a blockchain, you have a distributed system that we use to keep that money with you, with the central bank. Basically to manage a central point of issuance, and then for the distribution with the commercial banks. So if you talk about on the banks and say, those who do not have BVN will not be catered for, in our three-tiered KYC, if you have read it, Victor, you realize that Tier 1 does not require BVN. As we are today, you don't need to have a BVN to open a bank account. The requirement is for you to have a phone. Once you have a phone that has been verified with your NIN, you can open a bank account. So you actually don't need a BVN to open a bank account.
Which bank?
Every bank.
Wow.
If you have a phone, once you have a phone, an active phone, you can walk into any bank or a mobile money operator and open a Tier 1 account.
Tier 1?
Tier 1 account does not require a BVN. Yes, it doesn't require a BVN.
But it's limited.
Tier 1 basically is because we haven't done full KYC on you, so we limit the transactions that you can do, and we also limit the amount of money that you can keep because we don't have a complete background about you. But at least you have been brought into the financial system.
Okay. So I wanted to ask earlier before we went on the break, what guarantees do you have for data security? Because internet, that's what a layman understands. I don't want you to be like one body who told us they were backing up our data on the clouds in another country. So what exactly are you giving? What's the data security for this platform, for this application?
Well, the data security basically is about the cryptographic system that is used to wrap the data. That is very, very difficult for anybody to crack in. That's basically, and then the fact that it's running on a distributed system where the central base is not concentrated. So the risk of concentration has been taken away, of having your data in one place, where when that system is hacked or destroyed, you lose everything. Your data is replicated across several nodes in the world. And so that's why it's a cloud chain, because you don't have the data in one place. Yeah, basically. So it's spread across. And the encryption mechanism to make sure that nobody can eavesdrop or break into your data or your privacy is so high with the kind of technology used.
What do you have to say, Mr. Victor?
I'm sure Victor understands what I'm saying.
Do you understand, sir?
I have an understanding of cryptocurrency.
Okay.
I have an understanding of digital banking system.
Okay.
And the question we should be asking, what is the difference of eNaira to the day-to-day digital banking system? Which is, there is no difference. There is no difference. Ask anybody, pay money, receive money, transfer money, pay for items. We have been doing that. So that's why I'm shocked. Like, I think CBN need to really have a team of think tank young people that will help them create something that is widely acceptable, if not globally, but all over Africa. That's just part of what we expected. And something that will be the future Nigerian currency or the future African currency. That's what we were expecting. As we speak today, a Bitcoin is over $40,000 to a Bitcoin. And in 2009, when Bitcoin started, Bitcoin was just about 8 cents. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It was just about 8 cents. So every year, as the time is going, it keeps increasing, and they are making money. That was what we were expecting to see from CBN.
So give us a form of our own Bitcoin?
Yes. Oh. That can be acceptable, if not globally, but in Africa. Especially now that we now have these trade-free agreements with African countries. So we expect CBN to have gone ahead as a think tank institution to create that currency and bring it back to Africa and say, okay, let's start using this.
This is our own.
This is our own. That was what we were expecting. You just brought us an e-wallet. The first time I created an e-wallet was 2007. It's like you are taking us...
As an individual?
As an individual, which I created from inside my father's house. So you are taking us back. To me, I want to advise, if CBN, they can hear, just pipe low, get experts like myself and the likes of, you can go to Abeg, you can go to Paystack, get some
those young guys.
Those young guys, put them together and let's discuss. We will come out with something
befitting
Nigeria and something that can be acceptable all over Africa. Because you know what I'm saying is, our currency is going down.
Yes, it is.
When we heard that CBN was going to come up with this, we thought that CBN was going to come up with something.
That will give us hope.
That will give us hope. So if you are going to create another currency, let's say cryptocurrency, it's supposed to have a higher value. Right? So that as our currency is going down, you are systematically migrating us or shifting us into that currency that have a more higher value, which is what Bitcoin is about doing. In time to come in the future, you might not have a physical currency. Most persons would have migrated to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin moves that the more the demand, the more the value increases. That's what we should be looking at doing for Africa, not giving us another...
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay,
Miriam has a question.
So, like you too, even before it was announced, I thought the CBN was going the way of cryptocurrency. I make fun of it every time I say, oh, the CBN banned cryptocurrency so they can bring out their own version. So it seems that that is not the case. And also, the way you have explained it to me, it seems as if this particular e-money is supposed to bypass banks. So in order for us to, not pay those charges. Okay, so the advantage that I'm seeing, or the benefits I'm seeing, is that you would not pay all those levies and charges. Like today we took the 2%, the 3%, because we'll be dealing directly with CBN in this case. Is that what it is? Because that is what I'm getting. That's the only benefit I'm seeing.
No.
I would like,
banks.
yes, I would like Mr. Jimoh to respond to this, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. First, let me clarify the ambiguity that Victor is trying to create there, and I think he'll be patient enough to listen to me. E-Naira, which is a central bank digital currency, is not a cryptocurrency. There are two different things. I know, there are so many terms that are used in the public: cryptocurrency, virtual currency, digital currency, and all of that. This one is a central bank digital currency, a currency that is by a monetary authority. It has the sovereignty of Nigeria. Unlike cryptocurrency, like the Bitcoin and Ethereum, that do not have ownership. People just come together in a group and they create a network and they create the coin. And it's not backed by any asset. And it's, the price changes due to the vagaries of even individuals. If, for example, and someone goes to Twitter today and says, oh, okay, like Jeff Bezos, goes to Twitter today and say, oh, I'm not going to be accepting cryptocurrency to buy anything on Amazon again, the cost of cryptocurrency will come. When China says we are banning cryptocurrency, in the whole of China and all that, cryptocurrency coins, the price will crash. So that one, the price changes due to the vagaries of individuals. It's not backed by any asset. That's not what we are doing. And we're not competing with cryptocurrency. That is a different network. We're talking about currency that is backed by the monetary authority of any country, that you know the country that has issued it and therefore acceptable. In terms of usage, which you mentioned, the diaspora remittances and cross-border remittances, that is a use case that will bring itself online as acceptance within the country and other countries come to being. There is actually a project that is going on now, which is the Pan-Africa Payment and Settlement System. And basically the objective is to allow all African countries to be able to interject, to buy and sell and do currency exchange without going through the vagaries of dollars. So I should be able to spend my Naira to pay someone in Ghana, for example, and somebody in Ghana should be able to spend his cedis to pay somebody in Nigeria. There is that project that is going on. And we're going to leverage on this CBDC to be able to do that. Ghana is also working on CBDC. By the time all of the African countries have implemented CBDC, all of us will simply, simply integrate, and then transactions can continue to happen. And therefore, the fluctuation that our currency, is faced now, which makes our currency, go up and down and all that, will be reduced because, if I will just bind everything that I need with Naira, I don't need to seek for dollars again. So the pressure on dollars to pay for goods and services across the shore will go down. That's basically the objective, in addition to the financial inclusion objectives that are also enumerated.
Yeah, please, could you answer what I was saying about bypassing banks and dealing directly with CBN?
Well, yes. Technically, because the wallet you create is on the CBN system, but you're not bypassing banks because you still be doing your transaction through the banks. You can transfer your eNaira to a bank account. You can bring your bank account to an eNaira. It all depends on which channel is safe for me, which one is convenient for me, where do I pay more, where do I pay less, which one has speed, which one is available. Creating alternative means of payment is not something that is bad for the economy. We're just making our payment system more pervasive and more acceptable. So introducing a central bank digital currency where central bank will stop or to a certain degree reduce the minting of physical Naira, creates an economic benefit to the country. And that's what we want to basically translate to the benefit that users will get when they use eNaira, because cost of transaction will go down.
Go ahead, Nima.
So there are a lot of comments online. So I think people got you clear when you said eNaira wasn't the same as cryptocurrency. But why don't we have a Nigerian version of the cryptocurrency is what most of our viewers are asking.
No, we can. Cryptocurrency is not issued by any government. No government issues cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency are individual implementation. They are individual implementation. Nobody issues it. Our own is the central bank digital currency. Yes. The technology behind it is what makes the similarity, because both technology will use cryptography to wrap the transaction so that it's very hard to crack. And then you place the database on a distributed ledger so that you don't have one point of failure. Yeah. But the issuance and the objectives are different. A central bank digital currency or any central bank digital currency, apart from Nigeria eNaira, has the backing of the country. It is your Naira. It is a legal tender. It is your Naira you are holding in electronic form. I don't know who the founder, of course, we have a pseudonym called Satoshi Nakamoto, but you don't know which country, where the coin is being minted from. You don't have any consumer protection to it. If you lose your Bitcoin today, please tell me which government or which country or which authority are you going to report to? If you have any issue with Bitcoin, tell me. You don't have that protection, but your eNaira the liability of eNaira is on the Central Bank of Nigeria. And so if anything happens to your eNaira, it is central bank's money that we're talking about. And therefore, consumer protection is provided, which is why we are working with banks to also provide support. It's the money that will be flowing within the banking industry in tandem with the system that we also have in the CBN. So it's an ecosystem. We're not detaching the banks. We're just using the banks as the partner for the distribution, because even as we are today, you don't go to CBN and say, CBN, please, I want to withdraw money, give me Naira. You have to go to your bank. Banks are the institution that we use for the distribution of our physical Naira. And so we're also using them for the distribution of the electronic Naira.
Thank you, Mr. Jimo.
It's about introducing another channel that makes it very convenient for Nigerians.
Okay, I'll let Mr. Victor respond. We are wrapping up now.
Okay. Wow. So what I want to see here, these are my expectations from CBN. Number one, our Naira is going down. You have to invent any other currency. It should be to strengthen our currency. And with what he had just explained, it's what banks are already doing. I hate to repeat that, so that Nigerians will know. But to me, an undertone of it is like, I think there is an agenda to take over banks from private individuals to government. And if I'm lying, they should prove it wrong. Because with what we are seeing right now, we know the next step will not be that every online transaction will be done by the E-Naira.
Are you preempting them?
I'm saying it because I see no reason why the E-Naira was established in the first place.
Okay, so maybe that's a challenge. I have another question. Maybe Mr. Jimo can answer.
I see no reason.
Add to this.
Very short question.
Yes, so it's to add to this, I think Mr. Jimo may want to respond to that, which is if we're still going to use the banks would normally just have their charges. So that no charge may not work if the banks are involved. That's one. 100%. Secondly, if it's Naira to Naira, physical Naira to e-money, exactly the same value, how do you make sure people like me will be thinking then there's no need to get in? So are there measures, are there ways to incentivize people to get on that platform
and use the e-Naira?
The e-Naira.
A brief response, sir. Mr. Jimo.
Yes, thank you very much. Again, let me reiterate that your own e-Naira is equal to your physical Naira. There is no arbitrage, there is no exchange rate. So what you are holding is like your physical Naira that you have in your pocket. That's basically it. Yeah. The banks are under the supervisory control of the central bank. And so, we work together to drive regulation, including even, limiting the fees that the banks charge. Because, we're a nation driving financial inclusion where we want to bring a lot of people into the financial sector. So cost is a major deterrent, and that's why we are working on how we can bring down cost. One of the cardinal objectives of the cashless policy, which we launched in 2012, is also to see how we can digitize our Naira and have more of electronic transactions and all that. Again, central bank has not taken the intermediation responsibility of the banks, and I'm sure that's what Victor wanted me to say. Banks will still continue to disintermediate. They will continue to perform their roles. We're not taking that responsibility from them, which was why we'd never make sure that central bank is the one distributing the Naira to the individual. The banks will be the one that will continue to do the distribution. So it's an ecosystem, a symbiotic relationship between the commercial bank and the central bank to see that this digital Naira, which is e-Naira, is issued as we used to issue the physical one and distributed through the banks. The banks will still continue to have their roles. And that's why, like I said, we'll get to a point where people will see the benefit and they themselves will come and say, I need e-Naira.
Thank you, Mr.
Because that
Jimo.
we used to get to a point, for example, let me just finish this talk. We get why there was a time in this country where a lot of people, never had the opportunity of using their phones to make electronic transactions. You have to walk to a physical branch. In fact, a point where you can only do your transaction from the branch where you open your account. Digitalization, innovation has brought us to where we are today, and innovation continues. So as somebody who calls himself an e-payment aspect, I expect that he would have done some research on what a central bank digital currency is.
All right, Mr. Victor, can you quickly respond to this? We have to go.
Sir, before I came up here, I've gone through it. I even went through my own particular bank to know how it works with bank. But there is still no difference. From what you just said, there is still
You still don't see any difference?
There is no difference. The only undertone I'm seeing about it is it's like a referee wearing the jersey of a player to play game. That's what I'm seeing here. Because what you are offering us, our banks already have given us those offers. So I thought he would have been able to tell us this is the difference between your bank digital transactions and the E-Naira. But my expectation is what will happen to our Naira in the future. We needed to see a new currency from CBN.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That in the future will give us a better value.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. Thank you so much, Mr. Jimo. I think the CBN needs a lot of information to go out there to convince Nigerians to adopt this eNaira. And thank God we have eNaira right now. That's all we can take for today. Join us tomorrow. Bye-bye.